Another question we have about stewardship that I think is really at the heart of stewardship, especially if you go to the St. Hilda St. Patrick website or YouTube and listen to Bishop Rickles' sermon about stewardship. The question comes up, what is the church in pandemic times? And here's our thinking about that.
In some ways, the church is both far more abstracted now than it has been usually, and in other ways, far more purely what it always is, which is the relationships between the people, the community. There isn't as much contact as we have had in the past. There isn't as much flesh and blood and brick and mortar, but there is still the emphasis on connection in these more abstracted ways, in these more creative ways. The church is still the fact that Christians need one another to seek the life of Christ. And in this, so in some ways during pandemic, the church is what it's always been, and in a totally new, different way, I think.
And also something for that tangible help, for that intentional help, to go back to something we've addressed previously, both for folks within our community, but also getting really intentional and really creative about helping folks outside of the community and showing Christ's love there.
I think the church is community, and the church is a real place, even when it's not a place that we can go. And I love that Father Joseph's been speaking a lot in recent weeks about the parallels of our time right now with what early Christians went through, not being able to gather and not being able to see one another, and still feeling the community and body of Christ just through knowing that there are other people worshiping and celebrating the same way that you are, even if you can't do it together in person. I think that's what the church is in pandemic.
I feel like I've needed the church so much, and the self-study and the Bible study and the sermons and the online worship and so on, so much, and yet I'm still really sad about not being able to be with people. That sadness is there, and also being exhausted and not being able to reach out and be there for people as much as I would like, because I want to be there for people. But I also know that the church, that we will be there. We are there for each other in prayer and in so many ways, and we will get to see each other again soon.
Yeah, and I think Joseph is going to talk about this in his sermons as we move into Advent, of the necessity of waiting. And I'm so conscious of waiting for being back together, for waiting to embrace you as we pass the peace, and to sing, to lift up our voices. And so the church, for me, that we're doing this video now and we're meeting, it takes again back to that intentionality. And this, friends, I believe is an example of stewardship. We are stewarding the community together. It's not for somebody else, we're doing it for ourselves, to be the holding place for this sacred experience of being together in the body.